Alright, we are live. Gonna let everyone know in the Telegram. Let everyone get in here. What's up, guys? Hopefully the music in the background's not too loud. I don't even know if you guys can hear it through the mic, but it's just kind of just background music I've got on. Hope you guys are having a good day. Hope you guys are ready for the open. Already before the open, the market's made some good moves. We did end up coming up to that liquidity we were talking about yesterday. And after we actually drove into it, after New York, price did push lower, ended up returning to that point of interest, reacting off of it, forming a daily low right here, which got tapped, turtle souped, got above POI again, and then actually ran liquidity again. So we're bullish right now across the board. We'll kind of see where the markets have us though after open, because now that we did take liquidity up here, if 15-minute candles start closing lower, we can try to get a short move to the downside, but that's kind of what it looks like. We'll maybe go over it again because I just went over it relatively early into the stream, so we'll see. There we go, I'll turn that down some. But yeah, I'm glad to see you guys returning. Keep showing up. We're going to keep showing up too. We're going to just take one trade a day. I think I'm going to be out for like 3 or 4 days in the beginning of the next month, but we're just going to keep this one trade a day stream going the rest of the year. And it's going to be sustainable on all ends, right? Because these streams aren't going to be that long. They're going to be 30 minutes to an hour at tops. And the reason being is because we're trying to get a trade after the market settles for the open and be done, turn off the charts, and we're gonna try to scale massively by like June. I really want to get to a place where trading is like a bulk of my income, not like right now maybe like 30% of it, 40%. I want it to be like 80%. Like I want to scale that heavy, just because I've been trading for a long time and I just am super confident in like my ability to follow a system now, which takes a while to get to. And what I mean by that, whatever strategy you're trading, just like your ability to trade it for like 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, like it's hard to get to that place. And coming back, that's kind of like my commitment this year. Is like I just want to trade this one trade a day. I ironed out exactly what I want to do and just do it the rest of the year. That's kind of like where I'm at right now. So it's going to be a slow, not really a slow grind, but we'll get there in due time. Just going to be one day at a time. Yeah, I can show you how to identify the liquidity and turtle soup manually. So turtle soup is just, you can see it's this line right here. Let me turn off, we've got time, that's why I'll do this right now, because we got to wait 15 minutes. I'll turn the 15-minute levels off really quick just so you can kind of see on the daily how it's marking it up. But the liquidity is really based on the candle that closed through the other previous candle. So the POI is right here, right? So this is a daily POI, and candles are breaking higher. So the turtle soup's based on the most recent candle in the direction you're breaking. So you can see we're inside of this daily candle. Well, a liquidity level or a turtle soup level, or in other words where stop losses might be sitting, is a previous day low. So if candles are closing higher, stop losses are likely sitting at a previous day low. We'll drop to the 15-minute and you'll see how that's exactly the case, right? It's this blue level right here. We ran those and then we obviously printed higher, because that's where a lot of just retail liquidity was sitting. Now, for the liquidity though, it is going to be based on that candle that broke that structure, right? So this candle right here got broken by this candle, and the liquidity was right up there. That's another level to play off of, right? So that level, before we even pulled back to the POI, what did we do? We pulled back to it, rejected it. You don't really get any like clean entries on the 15 minute, but you probably, on a 5 minute or 1 minute, I'm assuming you do, but there's just nice rejections here. And what's price do after that? It rebalances at that point of interest. What's the point of interest? It's that high that we just broke beyond right in here. So it pulled back to a T, then it formed a new daily low, price printed higher, came, swept those stops, and then ran higher for liquidity again, which was, previously up here. Now we're in a spot where the market could go higher or it could start to pull back. So we're really going to be super focused on what the 15 minute wants to do. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to turn on the same levels. The same thing that I just showed you, it's just going to be on the 15 minute now. And we're going to wait for a 15 minute candle to close. And we're going to see if we still are maintaining higher. And if we are, I'm going to try to take a long. If we don't close lower on this 15 minute at the 930 candle right here on the 15 minute, we are inside of this fair value gap. Price is extremely bullish, and there's no reason to not try to run higher. But at the same time, if we start closing lower, even if we close into the fair value gap, I'm not against getting a quick pullback and then a nice run lower to at least rebalance this fair value gap all the way. A lot of people don't understand this, but a fair value gap is not fully rebalanced until like the other side of it's been tapped, right? So if it's left open here, or this is a 1 minute, we gotta go to the 15 minute again so I could show you. This is the point that we broke beyond, right? So even if you pull back here in the fair value gap or even up here, there's still all of this space in here that gets left open. So there's still stuff to basically fill. But you can even see on the 15 minute, this lighter blue turtle soup level as well. What happened, the market tapped it right here and then shot up. Because if candles are breaking higher, the previous low is likely going to be where orders are sitting, right? What if it doesn't close beyond either way? Wait for the no. So if we don't close lower right now, you can see this candle's not closed, so we're not really considering it, but you can see 15 minute candles are breaking higher. So as long as those ranges are breaking higher and maintaining bullish, then it's I'll look for just basically a long. But if we close below this blue line right here, we're getting bearish, and which is not unreasonable either because we just swept way over here. I'm using my phone for a camera, and actually I need to look at something on it really quick, so just bear with me. I'm still here. I'm still here. We got about 9 minutes until anything important. We're gonna be hanging out. I think we are potentially going lower, but with how bullish we are, it's tough to tell right now. The daily's bullish too. But I think the daily made its move. Okay, let's get my camera back up. Slowly but surely, I'm here, guys. I'm using my iPhone as a camera lately, so it's super clean, but I needed to look at something on my phone really quick. Okay, I'm gonna put it back right now. We are back. When are you gonna trade the daily 15 on the Forex pairs? I'm not sure. I'm not sure right now. I think before my trip, I was like trying to add, like do a million things at once. And I'm like, I just need to do one thing really good for a season and really lock in. I'm really trying to like actually read a lot more in life and just kind of get a little more quiet. So that's why, like, because I was running so many accounts, so many cash accounts, so many prop accounts, and I was like, I just need, like, I wanted to come back and just do one thing really well and just trade indices in the morning or just NASDAQ in the morning at the open, because I know, like, it's just such a easy time of day to find a high probability trade. With the Forex and stuff too, it can be a little bit draining just because I'm looking all the time at the markets. And in order to have like a quiet season of life where you're kind of getting like, you know, reconnected with God and family and just like not as noisy, it's a little hard when you're trading the daily and 15-minute on Forex, because you might be waking up in the middle of the night sometimes because you got alarms going off for price approaching POIs and stuff like that. So it's like, and you're looking at the charts, you know, until midnight, until 1 in the morning. I'm trying to go to bed earlier. Like, so it's a little draining. So I'm trying to just stick with this for right now. I'm not going to not return to it, but we're just gonna kind of like try to do one thing really well and stay consistent with it for like months on end right now. And then as, you know, we kind of get rebalanced in life, we're going to, you know, add when it makes sense. But I'm gonna try. I have a problem with just trying to add too much at once and do too many things at once, and you get burnt out relatively fast. And maybe it's because I kind of been sick all week since I've come back, so I think maybe that's part of it too. Is not feeling the best. Oh wait, did not mean to open that up there. Let me transfer that to the other screen. I don't know how it even got closed. I don't know why it's not loading now at all. Okay. There we go. What in the world? We still got 4 minutes. I don't know why it's not opening for me. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay. Alert the media, my indicator settings match. Nice. Now you got the roadmap. What I would do too, Laura, is if you're trading like Forex pairs and stuff, only switch, keep them exactly the same, but then switch the 15-minute to the 1 hour or the 4 hour. If you're trading like metals and Forex, if you're trading metals, you can keep it on the 15-minute. But the reason too is we're entering, you know, very quick small trades on the 1 minute during New York, so that's why I got the 15-minute levels, because of this, with NASDAQ in particular, when you're trading New York Open, a lot of people wait for the first 15. A lot of institutions as well will even wait for the first 15 minutes to trade. So a lot of big players are really banking on this 15-minute range and making decisions around it. So that's also why I have the 15-minute CCT lined up. I don't know where my 1 minute line is. It should be on. Oh, we're not on the 1 minute time frame. That's why it's not on. So, yeah, I think we're flipping bearish. We've got about 3 minutes, but as long as we close in the next 3 minutes below this blue line right in here, price is going to flip bearish, and then we're going to wait for a pullback, which we're already in. 1 minute candles are going higher, but if they start going lower, we're going to wait for a different pullback for candles to go higher. We want it to be after, and then we'll basically look to take price lower. Okay. But yeah, I want to explain to you guys too the thought process behind this. The 1 trade a day and having consistent ticks for your stop loss, your take profit. If you guys didn't watch the CCT, it was like the mentorship of talking about some of these things. It was about in gold too. You could use this on whatever you trade. I used to do this in Forex. This is the most consistently profitable money management system, is 1 trade a day, 1-to-1 risk to reward, and having the same risk and reward every single day. Obviously, as your account grows, you increase your position size, but it always stays like 150 ticks, 150 tick stop loss and take profit, or if you're trading like Forex, 15 pip stop, 15 pip take profit. It is the most emotionally and like mathematically sustainable way I've ever traded. I've gone on periods where I wouldn't have a red week for like 6 months straight. I wouldn't have a red month for 8 months straight. Like it keeps you in the game, and it makes your trading so easy when you just take 1 trade a day. But the hard part is, it's like if you guys haven't done it before, I've done it before, so it's not as hard. But when you start it, and like if you lose like your first 2 trades, like it's hard to like get through that first week, that first 2 weeks. Once you're through your first like 2 to 3 to 4 weeks with it, you get into like a flow where it's just like, it's like second nature, just like anything else you do in life, right? It's like you want it to be like just like a subconscious habit, right? You show up to the charts at this time, take your 1 trade, turn the charts off, move on with life. It's like you wake up, you go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth, like to the point where you don't think about it. Okay, we are bearish. We're already pulling back on the 1 minute. I will try to go lower on the 1 minute if we close lower. You see I've got a separate thing set up for only 1 minute turtle soups. That way, that's basically our candle flip. Looking at the 15 minute, yeah, we did close lower. Tapped into these fair value gaps, but I think this is more of a sweep than just these fair value gaps are. I think we could come down quite a bit. A lot's been left open, and the 15 minute is bearish. So we're pulling back on the 1 minute right now, and we'll see if we get any type of short lower, but I am looking to sell as long as we can get the 1 minute now to be in alignment with the, the 15 minute. I feel like the daily's already delivered its move, and I'm not against taking a short. And then we'll be done. And it's just a quick part of your day, a quick part of your life. You're not thinking, and here's the math too. It makes it simple because you know how much you're going to lose every day if you lose, and you know how much you're going to win. But at the same time too, you know that, okay, I just have to win 3 out of 5 trades a week. With 1-to-1 risk to reward, that's not really hard. That's why you can go on like long periods of profitability with it. There's going to be weeks where you hit 2 out of 5, but you got to think about it too. When you hit 2 out of 5, you're only down 1 hour a week. So even your losing weeks aren't even that bad. If we close lower, I will sell. Pulled back to that kind of extreme fair value gap on the 1 minute. I think a lot of people wanted to see prices higher. I think we could have a quick run lower. Where's my trade? Okay, there's my trade. Let's make sure we're actually, though, 150 ticks. We're not. You see how subtle that can be? You got to be quick about it. 75. I need to switch this so it's not 300, so I could have a quick. There we go. Alright, perfect 150 tick trade. Gonna see if we can't get a flush lower now. This is, I mean, classic CCT too. It usually plays out pretty good. Like we tap that fair value gap, pulled back to POI. Gonna look to run this liquidity. This is holding a 1 minute fair value gap. I don't know if it's holding a 15 minute, but we'll see. This is trade number 3 for the week and for the stream. We pulled back. 1 minute candles flip direction. The 1 minute's in alignment. 15 minutes in alignment. The daily was bullish, but it delivered fully, so no reason we can't go lower. So this is a high probability setup. This is the type of setup that you want to take day in and day out, and you just want to let the numbers crunch over time. This is a cash account. You could trade the daily in 15 minute or the 1 hour and 1 minute. They both work. Depends on when you want to do it, really. So the 1 minute candles are trying to flip bullish right now. We'll see if they close higher. It might close all the way higher right now. One minute candles flip bullish, so that's out of alignment for us. We'll see if we can hold on for dear life and still get our move. But in terms of the math, we need to win one more trade this week to have a green week. Is holding that line right there, you can see. That's kind of like the last point of, you know, if we can break through there and close below this 1 minute candle now, we flip bearish again, but we're still bullish on the 1 minute. We flipped immediately bullish after getting bearish. In all honesty, I'm shocked we didn't even get taken out already. That POI like kind of held for us some, but I'm honestly shocked that we are that POI is holding as strong as it is. We might get this. We might genuinely get this. I don't know if I'm going to do the breakdown trades too anymore. It doesn't seem like a whole lot of interest in them, and I think like the people that actually want to be watching this like are you guys right now that are here. But if it makes sense, if people start saying like, hey, what happened to them, maybe I'll start doing it again. But we got a good group of people right here right now. Can you go over the 1 minute turtle soup? Is that another entry mall? It's essentially a candle flip. I'll go over it. Let me let's finish watching this trade, see how it plays out, and then I'll go over it. Use a fun line. I've never even heard of a fun line. We're really just going on candle direction though. Dang, I thought we might get it. We tapped back into that fair value gap that's holding pretty strong. We're bearish on the 1 minute though still again. It's choppy price action for sure. Yeah, it's just like a candle flip essentially. I'll go over it. We're gonna just hang out and see how this trade resolves. Essentially, our take profit right now is at that 15-minute liquidity, which it's desperately trying to make its way to. But basically, this is what we're looking at. I'll try to show you while everything's even on the chart. I'll make these a little bigger. But basically, this is what we have. We got these, imagine these are these two 15-minute candles up here that were essentially, this is one of them, and then this is the one we like close beyond, right? This is the idea. You've got those candles right there. And now, once you know you're bearish on the 15-minute, you want to start, and I'll zoom into this because I know it's probably a little hard to see, but you wait for a pullback, and this is just like you pull back to the POI or whatever, but basically I'm just waiting for a pullback in general on the 1 minute, candles closing higher than each other when 15-minute candles are closing lower, and then once we have that, make this red, the entry is essentially a candle flip, right? So if we want the 1 minute to be matching with the 15, the turtle soup is just like that previous low. That's why I have it drawn on, because it's always going to mark up the previous low of the last candle. If candles are going higher, it's going to mark up the previous low. Well, when that gets flipped, then that's going to move to here, and candles are just going to print lower. So it's just a candle flip. That's kind of how I'm using the 1 minute turtle soup as why it's the only thing marked on for that. Because you can see right here, look at 1 minute candles are closing lower right now, so it's marking up the previous candle's high. I would love for it to stay below that previous candle's high and keep making its way towards our target. I think a lot of people, I think we'll get it just because a lot of people want to be bullish. And why do a lot of people want to be bullish? They don't want to have just missed out on all of this. But if they're looking too much and too closely at where we're at and not really looking at what we just did, which was deliver all the way up here, they could be wrong. But I don't know. Price is really like chopped right now. But that's the whole idea. We've still got the 1 minute on our side, so that's good. And obviously we still got the 15-minute we're bearish on. So I don't have the 1 hour on right now, and the reason I don't have the 1 hour on right now is because I'm focused on the 15, and that's because just basically I'm combining it with just like the historical idea that that 15-minute opening range is like one of the most like consistently profitable. Like taking trades around that opening range has been consistently profitable for years on end. It's something that hasn't really like faded. Obviously the ways of trading it, like if you guys watched yesterday was a fake out of that opening range, but if you look at like today, right? I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. This is 9:30 to 9:45, right? A lot of people are looking to take the breakout of this range right in here. I'll even turn this off. They're looking to take the breakout of this range, right? The first 15 minutes. Well, if I know with CCT that actually this range just made its way bearish right here, well, instead of waiting for price to get here, waiting for price to get there, well, I can trade on the way there because I know directionally what we're trying to do, right? So it's like trading orb on steroids, because instead of trading the breakout, CCT tells you already which direction you kind of want to go. Now, it's by the grace of God we didn't get tagged out there, respectfully, because it's when you trade a static 150 tick stop and 150 tick take profit, that's why I'm saying like it's the sweet spot for me, because I know like it's going to be like that middle ground. It's sometimes going to be too close, but sometimes it's going to give just enough room. Obviously, it's, there's going to be days where you get tagged out and then it goes straight there. But instead of having the days where you put like your stop beyond like there, like it's like if you want 150 tick stop loss every day, if you want to risk a certain amount, and then you've got days where it's a wider entry, that's where your results get inconsistent and it can mess up a monthly sample big time. So that's why I started seeing like a lot more success with just having a static 150. And it depends on the asset you're trading. Like if you're trading, ES, you're not going to do 150 ticks. If you're trading the S&P, you're probably going to do something like 50 or maybe 75, maybe half of it. Probably like 50. You'd probably do like a third of it. Or if you're trading Forex, it's like 15 pips. So it's what keeps like me consistent. We're green this week no matter what. I'll update the stream record right now too. So that's cool. Like now the next 2 trades can just add to what we're doing. Hopefully they do. But that's like the goal. Win 3 out of 5 a week, and then if you win Monday through Wednesday, now the rest of the week's completely stress-free because you're green no matter what for the week. You locked in a green week. The reason it's sustainable is because you can expect it, right? You can know like that your results aren't going to be all over the map. So still yesterday's entry. I understand the 1 minute TS, but I don't understand. Let's go over yesterday. We'll go over yesterday. Do you guys understand today's trade? So basically, 15 minute, we were bearish, and then on the 1 minute, right here, so on the 1 minute, we had candles closing higher. Well, it's really started right here. This candle closed higher. The most recent break, when we got to 945, right in here, most recent break was higher. And then, so if we're bearish, the first thing we want to see is candles higher on the 1 minute. Why? Because that's a pullback. You don't want to try to continue bearish like down here because you don't know when a pullback is going to happen. So like the idea is if we're bearish, I want to see a pullback, and then I want to get in at the soonest possible flip of that pullback, which is the candle flip, and you can see it played off of this fair value gap up here as well, which added confluence, and it pulled back to this POI. But really the pullback starts, whether it goes to a level or not, the pullback starts once the candles flip. So if candles on the 1 minute are closing higher, they're pulling back, and then it flips, and then we start going lower. You can even see we just started printing lower as well. New 15 minute happened. So we got in at the soonest 1 minute continuation of, basically the candles flipping downward, CCT, and then, it was in alignment with the 15 minute. We'll go back to yesterday as well. We'll do that together, and I'll show you the same thing. I don't even know why. Oh, this is literally yesterday's trade, but yesterday's trade wasn't that long. We won yesterday's trade. It was 150 ticks. It's because I just have it marked up way too high. I gotta save this as our short. I'll show you yesterday's trade. So this is yesterday's trade, and it was the same thing, but the pullback was a lot shorter. So let's bar replay to, I'm not ready. Okay, we'll bar replay to right here. So once the first 15 minutes settled, which was like right in here to right in here, this was bullish in terms of CCT. This 15-minute candle flipped bearish, or I don't know if I said bullish, I meant bearish. We were bearish in terms of the 15-minute CCT. So before the opening range ever even happened, or before we even hit an end of it, we knew we wanted to go lower. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take a short. That way I was in alignment with the 15-minute trend, which the way I determine trend is just the most recent direction candles are breaking. And then when it comes to the 1 minute, you can see immediately we had candles closing higher, failed to close higher, candle flipped lower. So basically this was the pullback, and it was so short-lived. We didn't pull back all the way here, but this pullback ended very quick, and then we basically closed lower, got in on the next candle, and we took a short, just 150 ticks both ways. And what it ended up doing, let me pause this because this is super important. I've taught about this a lot, or not a lot actually. I haven't taught about this a lot. I taught about it in the videos I pre-recorded last week. You can actually trade off liquidity if POI hasn't been returned to, and basically look at this. Price reacts off of this liquidity level, and then since we were out of balance, basically you're out of balance until you return to a POI. Once the POIs are returned to, the market's more balanced. So we got our trade. It pushed a little bit lower than here. I honestly thought we'd go here and then up here, but we only went here and then up. But you're going to see after we grab this liquidity, or if it didn't do that, then it would have grabbed here and then it would have. but you see it wanted to rebalance that 15 minute, and that's what it did relatively fast after our trade. But to answer your question, why did we get into this trade yesterday? We were going in a downtrend. 1 minute candles started closing higher, and then they started closing lower, meaning our 1 minute pullback had ended very short, candles flipped, and then we were going lower. So I hope that makes sense. Keep showing up for the streams. It's not gonna be all over the place. It'll all come together. Hopefully, I'm not trying to take a trade right now. This is the general idea, though. This is the general idea. I'm gonna show you guys with just this, because I know it feels like I'm doing something different, and I am a little bit, but I'm gonna show you the only difference, and the only reason is because of NASDAQ. Let's do this. I'm gonna show you guys this. This is a bullish scenario. This is all I'm doing. Let's imagine there's a POI right here. Let's imagine this is, a green solid line. Let's imagine this is a turtle soup level. Okay, this is how we've been trading. Is price pulling back to a point of interest and going higher, or pulling back to a turtle soup and going higher? With NASDAQ at the open, I'm not necessarily waiting for it to pull back to one of these levels. These levels, however, are telling us the direction we want to trade. This is just kind of what I'm doing with NASDAQ. Would I do this with gold? Would I do this with silver? Would I do this with my daily Forex pairs? No. The reason I would do it with NASDAQ is I've been trading Forex for over 5 years. I've been trading NASDAQ for over a year, almost 2 years. With NASDAQ in the mornings, this is a perfect example of why. Forex and metals and everything trades cleanly like this almost always. And on the higher time frames, NASDAQ trades pretty cleanly like this as well. On the lower time frames, though, this is how NASDAQ trades often. Very often, especially at the open. It trades extremely often like this, on both ways. The pullbacks are very minimal. So like yesterday's trade, it's like the pullback, you're not coming back to a point of interest or turtle soup or anything on NASDAQ sometimes in the mornings. So while I was on my trip last week, I was like, I want to trade NASDAQ in the mornings and I want to stream again with everyone. I was like, and you guys know I was trading silver before because I was having trouble getting NASDAQ to pull back to my levels. So I was like, but I want to trade NASDAQ in the morning around those 15 minutes to open, because I have a lot of buddies in the industry that do it. I love trading NASDAQ. It's more volume based than it is necessarily it's more directional and volume based than it is structure based, if that makes sense. So what I'm doing is I'm using the CCT framework to determine direction and to determine where the volume's headed. So in this case scenario, we got a POI here, we got a turtle soup here. But what I'm doing now, and you guys are going to notice as we start, and I'm only doing this with NASDAQ. Like I said, I wouldn't do this with anything else. What I'm doing is not anything different necessarily, but it's just like this. Instead of waiting, let's say price is coming down towards our POI, we're getting our pullback, but let's say price stops right here. It doesn't get to the POI, doesn't get to the turtle soup. And let's say then price does this. I'm on NASDAQ, not on anything else. I'm going to take my trade right here. And I'm not going for anything crazy. I just know at this point in time, we can get basically the markets in our favor because we've got stacked trends. We got 15-minute trend and a 1-minute trend stacked. Now, I would not do this on any other asset. I'm only doing this here, but basically this is the idea. We're trading CCT and we're just waiting for a candle flip instead of an inversion. There's always been two entry models. I think you guys are just really used to the inversions lately too. So you might not remember the candle flips as much, but it's just a candle flip, and I'm being a little more aggressive, and instead of waiting for the POI or the turtle soup, because I know how one-sided NASDAQ can get, I'm just taking the trades here. So I know it sounds different, but it's not different. It's all within the CCT framework. It's literally everything we've been doing. But it's just you got to take it and mold it to what is working best for that asset in that time of day. If I'm trading the daily time frames for NASDAQ with 15-minute entries, I'm not doing this. I'm waiting for it to pull back to levels. But if I'm trading at New York Open after the opening range sets, when price can be, like I just told you guys, it can get like this. And if you guys haven't traded NASDAQ enough, you'll see it when you come back to these streams. I'm not going to miss the trades, especially when I'm not trying to go for full liquidity. I'm just trying to go for base hits. Now, if you're not trying to go for base hits either, I wouldn't say like, oh, count on it running full liquidity for you and going even higher. But I would say, you're going to get your base hits more often than not. And this is going to be just stacked CCT trends, 15-minute in alignment, 1 minute in alignment. And then at the same time, too, we have the daily on. That way we have some context, right? We came to the markets and we looked at the daily levels first. We knew that the daily had run the liquidity over here after turtle souping. So we had made a massive move higher. And now that we had made that massive move higher, I knew, okay, if 15-minute candles could flip lower, we've got a good chance if we can get the 1 minute to match them to continue lower. A little scared because 1 minute got bearish and then bullish again immediately, but then it kept going. So that's the whole idea. But don't be afraid to ask questions. I know it feels a little different, but you got to remember this too. I've been putting out content, but I've been on my vacation, right? So I haven't been trading for like a week or 2 weeks, right? At least last week. I think I traded a little bit the week before. So I went on my trip. I sat down and I was like, what am I going to come back with that I want to stay consistent with for the longest period of time? And this is it. And so I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep taking this one trade a day with you guys. We're 3 out of 3 right now. We're going to see how much we can be out of the next 100 trades. It's going to be cool to see, and we're going to track it live together. Just full transparency, hanging out in the mornings. And like I said too, it's not going to take too much of your guys' time. You guys are going to find that this is going to be a place where you can show up for less than an hour every morning, take one trade a day, and you're going to find that trading is becoming what it's supposed to be in your life. Just a very small part of your day that adds to your life and doesn't destroy it through your thoughts all day, analysis paralysis, just being burnt out. I went to Costa Rica and I got a break, and after 3 days I was like, how can I get as balanced as possible with my trading, simplify it to its possible terms, and just be consistent and actually start to live life again? Because when you get over there and you get pulled out of your routine in which you are just getting drained by everything in your life, and you get a breath of fresh air and you get to take a break, you don't want to come back and do more. You want to come back and live more simple and do less. And that's kind of like when I was over there meditating and getting quiet before God, and I was like, God, I don't want to just strive after the wind anymore. What is how can I get to the most basic level with this again and the most consistent way, and just kind of, enjoy life more with all of this and not get burnt out. So that's why you guys don't see me trading a million accounts coming back and doing a million different things. I'm not even going to put out, I don't even think the breakdown videos every day. I think I'm just going to show up and stream with you guys for a half hour in the morning. And if you guys have questions, you guys want to see, it in more detail, and you want to see it broken down on the stream, so I'm always going to do that. But look at this. So 10 a.m. This is the same thing we just talked about. I mean, it kind of did pull back to the POI, but we didn't close above. But look what happened here. Price started, it got bearish here, pulled back. The 1 minute candles were closing higher. And then immediately, instead of closing higher than the POI, they flipped bearish again. And then look what happened. Price just continued lower. This is exactly what I was talking about. NASDAQ can get one-sided. Like, this is what NASDAQ can look like. It can look like very, very small pullbacks. And it could get very, very, very directional. Look at even pre-market, very directional, very small pullback, very small pullback. And so it's like, I want to take trades with momentum, and this is, the best option, I think. So just want to show you guys that. Do I consider the fair value gap an inverse fair value gap? Not to decide to enter. I want just the candle flip, but you're going to see, I love to know the context when I'm trading, because it helps me not be as stressed when I'm in the trade. And you can see holding this fair value gap up here and that strong reaction off of it, it did make me feel better about it. Now, when this trade did pull back right here, Was not feeling too good about it, but I was like, I kind of accepted it. We got that close, actually. We actually got, how many ticks today? 10 ticks away. 10 ticks away from a loss today, but our results will stay consistent with these parameters. You'll see. Do I think volatility is better for a pair if you trade pairs based on the kill zone and market, like British pound with London sesh or yen with Asia? Yeah, 1000%. Like the British pound pairs and the euro pairs, especially the British pound pairs, you trade in London, or if you trade like GJ, British pound and yen, during Asia and London, even in New York, that's going to be a pair. Like New York's going to move every pair just by nature, and then British pound yen, like Forex, that's like, especially if you're going to scalp, that's going to be one of the best pairs. But if you're not going to scalp, or no, if you are going to scalp though, and you're trading Forex, you got to make sure you're trading like tight spreads. Like you just have to find like a cash account or a prop account that's got tight spreads, because it can eat you up on Forex. That's why like trading the indices and metals and trading futures for the 1 minute time frame works better. Because you guys already know, if you're doing this on Euro USD or even like British pound yen, and you're taking a 1 minute trade here, we would have been stopped out like right here. Why? Because the spread would have been right here. So that's why I'm trading NASDAQ too, another reason, because there's no other pair where it would get this close to your stop loss and you wouldn't get stopped out. There's just no other pair. Like with Forex, when you take a 1-to-1 risk to reward, you've got, like I've done the math on this, you've got like about a 42% chance of winning at pure randomness because of spreads. With NASDAQ, it's essentially, not quite, but it's like as close to a 50% chance of winning automatically because the spreads are like non-existent. They're there. They're like, you can't see them, but they're there. So that's another reason too. When we take these, 1-to-1 trades, these base hits, NASDAQ is going to get us as close to humanly possible to a 50% chance of winning, just because the spreads don't really exist that much and the commissions are so low. So that's something too that I haven't talked about really, on why we're just super dialed with NASDAQ and why I was like, what's going to be the most sustainable, long-term, and consistent? Well, it's because NASDAQ is the cheapest asset to trade. When you, in terms of your results, your probabilities, all of that, if you look at it from a business standpoint, like let's say you have, a flooring company or whatever, and you want to restock your inventory, and you've got different factories that will provide it for you. Long term, you're going to go, like obviously you want quality, which NASDAQ I believe is extremely, has extreme quality. But at the end of the day too, if you've got two different assets or two different factories providing you with the flooring, and they're both quality that you like, you're going to ultimately go with the one that's going to give it for you at a better cost. And so when you're purchasing contracts or you're purchasing an asset, you got to look at it like that too. And so that's another reason, because like it's just cheaper to trade NASDAQ. Yeah, you guys could trade Forex pairs on futures. That's a good point too. I try to do that when I can too, and you're not going to see a lot of the slippage and stuff. But we're going to sign off today, guys. We're done with our trade. We're going to always try to hang out and go over a few things too. But we're going to close out in prayer as always. And I appreciate you guys being here. But Father, we just come to you in the name of Jesus. I just pray that you pour out a blessing and your favor on my brothers and sisters watching today. I pray that you just increase them and you enlarge in their territory wherever they're at in life. I pray that you help them get out of their comfort zone and to make the moves that you need them to make in their life to get them to where you're trying to get them to go. Father, I just thank you that you're here with us in these morning sessions, and I just pray that you just decrease me and increase you, and the things that you want to say, they come out of my mouth, and the things that I want to say, they just stay put. And I just pray that we have good conversation that uplifts each other, builds each other, motivates each other, and we just can lean on each other and keep coming back to this place and be built up together as a community. I just thank you for everyone here, and I pray that you draw them closer to you today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen, guys. I am going to go work, and I'm going to go try to feel better. I have been not feeling the best, so keep me in your prayers, and we will be back tomorrow. The exact entry price of this trade was $25,379.75. The only live account I trade with for futures, and this is only because you asked. There's no like plug. I'm not plugging them, but NinjaTrader is who I trade with, and I can trade straight off of TradingView, and that's who I'm trading with right now with you guys. But amen. Love you guys. TradeAvate's, I think, so TradeAvate and NinjaTrader are the same company. They're like two different sects of it. I don't really know how it works. They're like, but you can trade with TradeAvate or NinjaTrader off of TradingView, which I love it. You're gonna see me doing it every day. So, love you guys. I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for showing up. Good morning and have a good day.